Hey guys, this is Tiggy Maximus with Tiggy Maximus Talks, episode 233 on Spotify and YouTube. Thank you guys again for listening and watching to the podcast and donating to the podcast, telling your friends and family, everyone in between. On this episode of 233, I'm going to review SummerSlam, two-night event, first ever of its kind. Uh, Also, I am going to actually review three comics from a previous episode from the Pretty Funny Women because I forgot to do that. um, so let's start with the Pretty Funny Women show. There were three. You got Linda Schwartz. I met her maybe a few years ago, and she does have this really funny set. And honestly, she did talk about her upbringing, family. Apparently, there were, I guess, what do you call it? Kind of like a barbecue. Because I think she lived in Georgia. So she talked about that, and it was mostly the usual jokes from before, and she probably had one new joke at the end. But overall, I think this crowd liked Linda. I would say that Linda was probably an 8.4 out of 10 for her comedy. Then we also had Sarah Lee Steiner. She talked about doing magic or being a magician, kind of her upbringing. She probably talked about dating too, but crowd was kind of into her. Maybe half the crowd at most. Would probably say that she was probably 8.3 out of 10. Oh, they have Diana Puig. She talked about her haircut. She talked about her and her, I guess, her scooter. And I guess she broke her leg or kneecap. um, so with that, it was good seeing her, and she did get some good laughs and amazed the crowd with that kind of incident at a skate park. But she got some good laughs. I would say that she was an 8.5 out of 10. Um, and then um, yeah, overall, I gotta say, like I said before, the show was a little bit weird. I only thought that maybe two of the comics did exceptionally well. I think it was like Lauren Thomas and Ruth Brand. Actually, Christy Matsutani, actually. So, those three out of the nine that came up did pretty well. Although Ellie did well too. So, he's kind of like 3.5. So, um, I don't know when I'm gonna go back to the Comedy Store La Jolla, but we'll see. I have to look at the schedule, see what's going on. Although I gotta do one of those best of San Diego Thursday night shows at the Comedy Store because I haven't done it yet, and I think it'll be worthwhile to go. So maybe one of these days I'll go. Uh, um, oh, you know what? Um, I did get to try out two new places. One was, I believe it was called the Diamond Palace. They have dim sum. Dim sum is pretty much a la carte, but I wanted to see if their rating from Yelp was worth the visit, and I gotta say the dim sum was pretty good. The sumai was pretty good. The shrimp hot gao was good. The barbecue pork bun was good. Um, um, can't remember what else we got, but I wanted to get the sumai because there was two different ones. I think one had pork and one had shrimp. Oh, and I guess there might have been the soup dumplings. So overall, gotta say, gotta love the sumai. Sumai is probably my favorite. Um, I would say all the dim sum was, let's say, 8.9 out of 10. Really good stuff. I recommend it. They are on, I believe it's 54th Street and University. So I recommend them. They used to be called Crystal Palace, but now they're called Diamond Palace. And they do host like a lot of like events, like I guess concerts or just social gatherings, Saturday nights, Friday nights, whenever. And they got good dim sum. They also have chicken feet as well. And I did get to try China Max. What's great is they have an all-you-can-eat dim sum menu. You get to do it from 4:30 to 8 o'clock, I believe, on um, Monday through Friday, and then I guess it's all day on Saturday and Sunday. uh, so that's a great deal because you get everything on the first two pages, all you can eat. And of course, I had to get the barbecue pork bun, the sumai, the hot gal. They also have a Shanghai sumai, which is all rice. Um, and great service. I would say their dim sum was 9 out of 10. Really good stuff. Um, they have also this, I guess it's kind of like duck tacos, but I was assuming it was like a taco, like a normal taco, you know? But unfortunately, it looked like it was like folded, and I guess that was what they considered to be a taco with duck in it. um, I think so. Um, yeah. I also did try their wagyu. Um, I think it's like their wagyu uh, dumpling. Um, that was good too. They do have this Trinity noodles. So you got stuff from China, you got stuff from Korea, and you got stuff from Japan, all in one noodle bowl. Gotta say, it was a little spicy. The noodles was spicy, but um, overall, it's pretty good though. So if you like spicy, that's a good choice to have. Overall, but yeah, nine out of 10. Great service. I would go back. Plus, I would go back to Diamond Palace as well. So I thought I should throw that out there. Now you guys know if you haven't already. Now let's get into SummerSlam. So this is the first time ever. It is usually a one-night event, but it's actually 2 nights because WWE is getting bigger. All the Grand Slam events are going to get bigger, and you know what? I gotta say, eventually Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble, they're going to be 2 night events too, because I gotta say, what the marquee part of those events is that you got the War Games double cage, double ring, one big cage, and you also have the Royal Rumble. You have the men and women That's the main part of the whole Royal Rumble is the Royal Rumble itself. I gotta say, I've seen this coming, and I would like to see this because I'd like to see that event become the men and women. They both have their own significant event, which is the theme of the event. They should headline their own night, and I gotta say, you know, if it was the Royal Rumble, men and women they should headline their own night, honestly, because it makes a lot of sense and have some matches in that leads up to it. If you're gonna do the 5-6 match template for each night, I would say do 4 matches and then do one Royal Rumble, or 5 matches and one Royal Rumble on both nights. And I would say you could have some grudge matches. You should probably have some championship titles on the line. I mean, I would want to see the World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE Undisputed Championship, both on the line. They could be on either night to go with the Royal Rumble. The same thing for the women's WWE Women's Championship and the World Women's Championship. They should be on different nights as well. Um, I mean, the other thing too is like you could have literally all women for one night, all men for the other. But honestly, I like to see the interchangeable component, so you could see both. Um, Also, secondary titles should be on the line too. So already you got, you know, two of the titles to go before the actual main theme of the night. Um, Honestly, tag team titles should also go on there too. So that's like 3 titles. Uh, yeah, yeah. You literally got 2 of the big titles, 2 secondary titles. Then you got 2 of the big women's titles and 2 of the women's secondaries. So that's 8 already. The tag team titles make 10. The women's tag team titles make 11. So honestly, you could have the Royal Rumble for both nights, and you could fit 5 of those matches underneath, and then 6 on the other, give or take. I mean, you could have 11 titles to spread out between 2 nights. So I don't see why you couldn't. 11 titles spread over 2 nights, and you have the 2 main Royal Rumbles. I mean, that works. And that makes it a big event. Almost everybody can be involved. Um, I mean, the same thing with the Survivor Series. I know they had the War Games, but you got to have it on 2 different nights. The men and women should be separate. Also, if you are doing Survivor Series, bring back at least one 5-on-5 elimination match for both sides. And honestly, you can interchange it. If you have the men's War Games paired with the women's 5-on-5, or just do the 5-on-5 for the men's. Also, for the women, War Games, 5-on-5, and also the traditional 5-on-5 women's match, or just interchange it. It makes a fun night. Everybody's involved. Also, the fact that the theme is Survivor Series, you should be surviving. So my thought is that you should have a little mini tournament for wrestlers for a title. You could have the champion involved, or you could have a high stakes 4-wrestler tournament. The winner of that 4-wrestler tournament gets a title shot at the champion. And since you do have I guess it's 8 individual titles, any of those 8 can get a title shot at any of those respective 8 champions. So I suppose you could do the same thing with the tag team, because you can have 4 tag teams who then goes on to fight the tag team champions. So honestly, you have a lot of moving parts. A lot of those choices are, gives opportunities to everybody. And of course, you could always fit in some grudge matches too. So a lot of matches to consider, a lot of options. So you can make it a very festive 5-6 match night for both nights of Survivor Series. So, and the reason why, because we just watched SummerSlam 2 nights and they both had like 6 matches both nights, and they did that pretty well. Now the big part of it is when you have 2 nights, or any night actually, is that you follow through with your performance. Don't have any subpar performances from the wrestlers. You should always bring your A game, because everyone is probably gonna buy 2 nights, go to both nights, not just the one night, and you gotta really, you know, you gotta perform. That's why we invest our time and money to watch these events, watch these matches. And honestly, I see that as the future, because honestly, WWE is getting bigger. They're on bigger networks, bigger platforms for streaming services. I think they're going to be on ESPN on their platforms, Netflix, ESPN, Hulu, Peacock. I mean, they're spread everywhere. If they're all going to be on all of those platforms, that's great, because WWE is just getting bigger. And you can't stop it. Everybody loves watching it. Or a good grip of people do watch it. So you have like 111,000 people show up for 2 nights. And of course, when I went to WrestleMania SoFi for, I think it was WrestleMania 37 or something, and it was 80,000 per night. So you have 160,000 people show up. So, of course, there might be a lot of overlap, but still, these big events showcase it well enough to the show that this is a great product that you should be watching every week, multiple times a week, every month, and then also for the Grand Slam events. So, gotta say, um, I'm glad that after all these years of watching pro wrestling, or WWE in general, that it's just gotten to be mainstream. It's just, you get so invested. You get invested in the storylines. You get invested in the performers who put their heart and soul into it to perform for the people, and it makes it worthwhile your time and money. So honestly, I always love to see how it's presented on a weekly basis, per match basis, and whatever platform it's on. I mean, it will follow through, and that's why you have all these returning customers watching it every week, multiple times, every month, for all the events, all the Grand Slams, on any platform. Honestly, congratulations to WWE for doing so, and also to the fans who actually put their time to watch and support it like I do. So it's always nice to have some friends watch it with you too, and see why they see what you see, and why this is such a great thing. And honestly, anyone can watch it any given time. It's always available. It's widely available on any platform that I've just mentioned, and it's just gonna get bigger. And honestly, they're just doing so well to the point that they'll just keep topping what they did before. And I like that, because honestly, I get to enjoy my 2-3 hours of watching it. I like that distraction. So, so let's get into it. um, night one. Um, night one, I believe it was Jey Uso teaming up with Roman Reigns, going up against Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. I gotta say, it kind of started pretty slow, and it was kind of slow for a good portion of that match, but it started to pick up, and then you got to see some big spots. Um, but I believe Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, I think they did pull out the victory in that one. But I gotta say, the match itself, in my eyes, 7 out of 10. Um, but I still like the team up of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker because they are a force to be reckoned with. I can see them winning the tag titles pretty soon, actually. Of course, the tsunami is devastating. The Braun spear is devastating as well. Such a high velocity with it. Um, let's see what else. Oh, I guess it was uh, yeah. I gotta say, Tiffany Stratton versus Jay Cargill. Yeah, it was kind of slow. Um, I think Jade Cargill. Uh, I think she might have hit her finisher, but Tiffany Stratton did get out of it, and then um, Tiffany Stratton um, did hit her prettiest moonsault ever. um, uh, but the match itself, even though Tiffany Stratton won, which I wanted, but I gotta say, the match was like 8 out of 10. It was kind of slow as well, but you know, Tiffany Stratton, glad she got the victory, and she gets to move on. And who knows? She might be facing some future stars like um, maybe Julia down the road, who is the current U.S. Women's Champion. Um, and then, ugh, hmm, you know what? I'm just gonna go through all the matches, but I don't remember which night they were on, so bear with me. Um, so you also have the women's tag team championships, which can be defended on either show, Raw or SmackDown, or sometimes NXT. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, they were the champions going in. They had kind of an interesting match with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, who are not friends. But um, the match was all right. Um, but I want to say the match might have been a little slow, but I think it picked up as the match went on, and then um, I think Sister Abigail was used. Um, I think Alexa Bliss did Sister Abigail on Roxanne Perez. I think that's how it turned out. And Charlotte and Alexa are your new women's tag team champions. But that match, I want to say, was about a 7.5 out of 10. Um, and then I believe we had Jelly Roll teaming up with Randy Orton, facing off with Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. Um, Jelly Roll got in, got a few moves. Um, I think he did a choke slam somewhere in there. um, I think he did the choke slam on Logan Paul. But the biggest spot that I could think of was Logan Paul did the double prime bottle clash and toss those aside. And I think um, I think he did the flying splash from the top rope and landed on Jelly Roll, who was on the announcer's table. What's interesting was that Jelly Roll pretty much embraced himself by crossing his arms on his chest. uh, yeah, Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre did win the match. Um, I believe it was by Claymore. Um, and I think Jelly Roll took the pinfall. So, but give him credit for trying, but it wasn't like the best performance from a part timer. So, that mantle is still held by, I guess you would say, Bad Bunny. Um, but the match itself, let's say 7.75 out of 10. Um, I'm guessing that angle is over now. Um, I gotta say, Drew McIntyre should somehow get back into the title scene. And Logan Paul will probably eventually get there, but we'll see. Logan Paul might need some more moves in his move set, and then find his groove, and not just rely on his. I think it's like three moves: the knockout punch, the frog splash, um, and the I guess the reverse springboard, um, moonsault, springboard, moonsault. um, but for now, I guess it just seems suitable that Logan Paul would eventually team up with either John Cena or Drew McIntyre. So, and then we got the women's Intercontinental Championship between Becky Lynch, the champion, and Lyra Valkyria, former champion. Good back and forth match. I liked it a lot, and at one point I think Lyra's hands were zip tied together. She eventually got out of it, and Becky Lynch was able to just hit her with, like, I guess um, the Singapore stick cane, uh, Singapore cane. Um, a lot of body shots too. Um, but I think Bailey got involved and accidentally hit Lyra by accident, and that allowed Becky Lynch to get the um, I think it's the manhandle slam. um, so Lyra cannot challenge for the women's intercontinental championship again. I guess as long as Becky is the champion. Um, so Becky Lynch is your champion, and who knows? I guess going forward, Becky Lynch might be facing off with either Bailey, or I guess she's gonna go head to head with Nikki Bella. What's funny is that I think on the Monday Night Raw, the following day after SummerSlam, uh, Becky Lynch mentioned that Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch is the power couple in WWE, but mentioned that Nikki Bella was supposed to be a part of a power couple, but mentioned that you can't see him. And everybody remembered that, and that was a big burn. Um, so that's an interesting development between Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch. I want to see how that match is going to turn out. I mean, both are former champions, so Um, but Becky and Lyra, I want to say that match. I want to say that match was probably 8.5 out of 10. It's pretty decent. Great back and forth action. Both hit their finishers, false finishers, but Becky Lynch with the victory in the end. Um, for sure, the ending of night one, um, it was pretty good. CM Punk challenging Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. He kept going back and forth. Some good false finishers, um, body chops um, from Gunther. CM Punk pretty much had Gunther wobbled at the end with not only one but two go to sleeps. And on the second one, I think it's the second one, CM Punk finally um, put away Gunther for the 1-2-3 pinfall and wins the World Heavyweight Championship. But CM Punk only held the title for 5 minutes because Seth Rollins came out with Paul Heyman on his crutches because Seth Rollins got hurt at Saturday night's main event against LA Knight. But it turns out that that was just a ruse. The injury made everybody believe that he was hurt. Torn ACL, possibly. But Seth Rollins, with his back turned to the ring, he stopped on the ramp, threw down his crutches, unbuckled his knee brace, took the Money in the briefcase from Paul Heyman, came down to the ring, grabbed a referee, and by the way, Gunther was cut open. So Seth Rollins went into the ring, hit Seth Rollins hit CM Punk with the Money in the Bank briefcase multiple times, gave the briefcase to Jessica Carr. Jessica Carr gave the briefcase to Alicia Taylor, and officially the cash-in attempt starts, and Seth Rollins got the curb stomp and pinned CM Punk 1-2-3, and Seth Rollins is your new World Heavyweight Champion once again. And the greatest ruse cash in of the century once again. Seth Rollins cashed in on Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, made it a triple threat, and Seth Rollins pinned Roman Reigns to become the champion. That was pretty awesome that he did that, because he did it again. And Seth Rollins is pretty awesome to watch. He has an ace up his sleeve. We'll see what happens with Seth Rollins, because now he gets to defend his championship against LA Knight. And he actually did on Monday Night Raw, but it ended up with a disqualification because CM Punk is pissed off at Seth Rollins.